Hey mini enthusiasts, how you doing? I don't know what part we're on actually. Depends in what order this gets uploaded. But I am just on my way down to Mark's. It's a Saturday, got all day on KITT today, and set myself a little bit of a challenge. So KITT is currently still pretty much a bare shell, although the front and the rear subframes are in it and built up, but apart from that it's got no glass in it, no interior, no wiring loom. Yeah, it all needs doing. The engine's not in it at the moment, and the engine's 3/4 built, so I've just got a couple of bits I need to finish off on the engine to get the engine in, but I want to get it running today, so probably got 8-9 hours at it. It's a big ask. Not confident we'll get it done. Even if all the bits were laid out, it's probably a bit of a challenge, but I want to give it a go. It'd be really nice to hear it run today, so let's get down there, let's get on it and see how we get on.
So here we go, guys. The engine is all built up there. It's ready to go back in now. I think I might have mentioned in the previous episode, actually, probably bolted a few too many ancillaries on because it's a big engine and a small hole to fit it in. Of course, probably my biggest concern with this is that we scratch the wings or something like that putting it in. So yeah, I was being very careful with it, taking no risks, and we take off the bonnet as well in a minute just to get a bit more access. And we get some regular visitors down now, so that would be my friend Steve there. Steve is a subscriber and watches the KITT videos, so hiya Steve, thanks for dropping by. So although the front suspension is built up there, just dropping the hubs back out again so you can get the drive shafts out of the way, just so you can get the engine back in. Put that somewhere safe so it doesn't get damaged or dirty while it's being stored. And we're using an engine hoist attachments which are specifically made for an A+ engine. They're quite good, it gives you sort of two positions to put the engine in. And what we found while doing that auto engine was that you start in one position, get it down, and then you move it around into the second position. It just helps lowering it down in okay. But as you might see here, there was a bit of head scratching going on because we couldn't get the engine mounts in both sides in. We could get one side in, but the other side was about 1 centimetre out. Really wasn't sure what was causing the issue. My suspicion was that where the subframe's been powder coated, where it's got all new engine mounts and rubbers on it, was that the powder coating was a bit thick and it was just not letting the engine drop down far enough. So we're just trying to tap it down there. It was agonisingly close. It really wasn't that far out, but just enough not to be able to get the nuts and bolts through for the engine mounts. And if you've ever done an auto, it's really, really difficult to get to the bolts which hold in the engine mount on the offside front. You need tiny fingers. I know they do those engine mounts with captive nuts in them now, which is what we got for the bolt when we done the engine in that, but we actually found them a bit rubbish. They had captive nuts in, but then the captive nuts were sort of held in at an angle, so the bolts didn't go in straight, so we actually took them out and used standard engine mounts. So what we're doing here, we just jack the engine up again and just cleaning off the powder coating where the engine mounts meet the subframe. And obviously this is an automatic subframe. Not actually sure what the difference is. I think it's slightly wider, because I know you can fit a manual engine in an automatic subframe, but you have to use some engine mounts which are specifically made for the job. But you can't, I don't think you can fit it the other way. I don't think you can fit an auto engine in a manual subframe. Someone might correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure you can't. So we're dragging this out now. Should be 10 minutes to get that engine in. But yeah, we dragged it out and I found the problem eventually, and that was that the engine mount on the offside there was upside down. And I'm not going to take the blame for that. Mark put it in. But to be fair, Mark just copied exactly what was on the old engine. So whoever done it previously had fitted it upside down. So if you ever have that, it makes probably about 1.5 centimetres difference when you're lowering it down. So just have a look. It can go both ways round, and obviously if you turn it around, put it up the other way, it fits in nicely. So thankfully we're about there, so that probably wasted us 45 minutes, an hour, so a little bit frustrating, but I'm sure we all come across issues like that. Next problem Mark had there was with the radiator cowling, which eventually found out was bent. It had been sort of elongated, so it was oval. But again, it took up quite a bit of time getting that right. I hope you're all enjoying these kit updates. We are drawing to a close now. There's not going to be many more updates to come. I don't think we'll get to part 40. But yeah, if you enjoy it, If you enjoyed watching, please give it a thumbs up, it does help. And if you don't enjoy it, don't give it a thumbs down, just go and watch something else. Just a reminder, KITT will be at London to Brighton, so as it stands from today, I think we've got, is it 3 weeks? It's the 19th of May, so about 3 weeks to get KITT finished. So obviously we're a little bit ahead of this video here, but only 1 day ahead. So we got about three weekends and a few evenings during the week to get everything back together. So provided we don't come across any big problems, provided the gearbox is okay, we know the engine should be fine, but the gearbox is kind of an unknown entity. Took some professional advice on it, people that build gearboxes and have good experience of automatic gearboxes, and they kind of said if it's okay, leave it alone. So that's what we've opted to do. One thing that's become apparent the further we've sort of got into putting everything back together on KITT, is just how complicated, how tight for space it is under the bonnet on an SPI Mini. It really is a squeeze. There's a lot of stuff under that bonnet. I don't think it's quite as bad as an MPI Mini, but there's not a great deal of difference. And of course, if you've ever seen under the bonnet of a Japanese spec SPI Mini, wow, they really do cram it in under there. And we start finding further issues as we've got into this now, so not sure whether I've mentioned it earlier on in the build, but the body of KITT is a I'd say, I think it's a 1990 shell, might be even 1989, so it's a carburetted shell. I don't know what mark that is it Mark 4 or Mark 5? But the engine gearbox is from an SPI Mini, which around about sort of 1995. So we keep finding things on the shell that are just not there, brackets for things. Where the fuel pipes run underneath the car, where it meets the front floor pan, there is a cutout in a SPI floor pan for the fuel pipes to go. There isn't on a carburetted shell. Also inside the boot, where the fuel pipes, the fuel supply and return, and the ventilation pipe goes up, sort of behind the subframe or in between the subframe. That's different as well. Relay brackets under the bonnet. There's lots of little differences that I kind of knew we'd come across these things as we went along. We've managed to resolve all the issues as we go, but it's certainly added to the challenge. I think it would have been much easier if we'd started with a complete SPI engine in an SPI shell, but you live and you learn, and you know, minis are getting rarer and rarer, and you don't always have that opportunity anymore. Kind of at that stage now as well where you've got to make some decisions on what order you start putting things back together in, because what you find is you'll assemble something and then find out you've got to take it apart again to fit something else in. So I started on the brake servo bracket there, but you know, brake lines, the ECU's got to go down that side. I think we've done okay. There's a few little bits which we've had to disassemble again to get to things to gain access, but generally it's not been too bad. So I you can't quite see all the detail in these photos, but there's quite a few shiny bits on the car under the bonnet, quite a few bits from DSN, some really nice red anodized parts. I was a little bit unsure whether there was too much black on kit, but as it's come together, it's looking just right. I think it is going to be a very black car, but when you look under the bonnet now, there's some nice little accents and bits and bobs, which, yeah, they do look good. They complement the car. As you can see, every now and again we need to get a specialist in, and in this case it's Lucy. Lucy is the bottom hose specialist. So if you ever need a bottom hose put on your radiator of your Mini, Lucy is very experienced with it, having done other cars before. So the great thing is, like you will have seen in previous videos, this is kind of a family build as well. The kids get involved, Lucy gets involved, and when the car gets shown London to Brighton, Lucy will be there, and I think she can take a bit of pride saying she got her hands dirty and got involved in the build as well. So unfortunately we're drawing to an end here. I'm just starting on the spaghetti that is the wiring loom. I would have really liked to have got it running today, but it just wasn't happening. As I say, we got held up with fitting the engine in, held up with the radiator cowling, just didn't quite all go to plan. So unfortunately it means next time for the engine running. But thanks for tuning in this week, guys. There'll be probably a midweek update coming because I need to get some more of this footage processed. So thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Cheers.